Yo, what is up everybody, and we are back. Planning a trip, right? Super exciting. Getting those plane tickets, packing your bags, getting ready to experience something totally new. But there's something you gotta remember before you get too stoked about those souvenirs. Your safety. Listen, the world is a beautiful place, no doubt. But it's also got its share of sketchy spots. And that's what we're talking about today. We're diving deep into the countries you should absolutely avoid. First up, we're heading over to the Korean peninsula, but not to the South Korean side with its K-pop and bustling cities. No, we're talking about North Korea, a country shrouded in mystery and ruled by an iron fist. This is a place where the government controls every aspect of life, from the media you consume to the places you can visit. This is a country where even the smallest misstep, an offhand comment, or a misplaced photo can land you in some serious hot water. The rules are strict and the consequences are severe. You can't just wander around freely, you'll be accompanied by government minders everywhere you go. These minders are there to ensure you don't see anything you're not supposed to, and to make sure you don't stray from the approved path. And forget about snapping those Instagram-worthy shots. Photography is heavily restricted. You'll be told what you can and cannot photograph, and your camera might even be confiscated if you break the rules. North Korea is a country that's virtually cut off from the rest of the world, and venturing there as a tourist is like stepping into a time capsule, but not in a good way. The infrastructure is outdated and the atmosphere is oppressive. The lack of freedom and the constant surveillance are enough to make even the most seasoned traveler feel uneasy. You're always being watched, and it's hard to relax when you know you're under constant scrutiny. It's just not worth the risk, guys. The experience is more stressful than enjoyable, and the potential dangers far outweigh any curiosity you might have. So, unless you have a burning desire to experience life under a totalitarian regime, I'd say steer clear of North Korea. There are plenty of other fascinating places in the world to explore that don't come with the same level of risk and restriction. Next up, we're setting sail for the Horn of Africa, to a country that's been ravaged by conflict and instability for decades. Somalia. Now, when you think of Somalia, what comes to mind? Pirates, right? And while it's true that Somali pirates have been a serious threat to maritime traffic in the region, they're just the tip of the iceberg. We're talking about a country with a high crime rate, where kidnapping for ransom is a very real threat. The infrastructure is practically non-existent in many parts of the country, making it incredibly difficult to get around safely. And if something were to happen, emergency services are either unreliable or completely unavailable. Look, I'm all about immersing yourself in different cultures, but Somalia is not the place to do it. The risks are just too high. So, unless you're a seasoned security expert with a death wish, I'd say scratch Somalia off your travel bucket list. Chapter 3. South Sudan. Beauty overshadowed by conflict. From the deserts of Somalia, we're heading south to the world's youngest nation, South Sudan. Now, South Sudan is a country of stunning natural beauty, from the Nile River to the vast savannas teeming with wildlife. But beneath this picturesque facade lies a nation grappling with the devastating legacy of a brutal civil war. While the fighting has subsided in recent years, South Sudan remains a volatile and unpredictable place. The security situation can change in an instant, and outbreaks of violence are still common, especially in remote areas. The infrastructure is still struggling to recover from the war, making travel outside of the capital city, Juba, both challenging and risky. Look, I'm all about supporting developing countries through tourism, but South Sudan is not ready for visitors. The country needs time to heal and rebuild before it can welcome tourists safely. Chapter 4. Afghanistan, a country held hostage by danger. Our next stop takes us to a country that's been making headlines for all the wrong reasons, Afghanistan. This is a land of breathtaking landscapes and rich cultural heritage, but unfortunately, it's also a place where danger lurks around every corner. This is a nation that's been ravaged by war for decades, and despite recent events, the situation remains incredibly volatile and dangerous. The scars of conflict are visible everywhere, from the ruins of buildings to the faces of its people. We're not just talking about the threat from the Taliban, although that in itself is a major concern. The Taliban's resurgence has only added to the complexity of the security landscape. We're talking about a country where bombings, suicide attacks, and kidnappings are tragically common occurrences. These acts of violence have become a grim part of daily life for many Afghans. The security situation is so precarious that many governments advise their citizens against all travel to Afghanistan. Travel advisories are frequently updated, reflecting the ever-changing and unpredictable nature of the threats. The risks are simply too high, no matter who you are or where you go. Even seasoned travelers and journalists find it challenging to navigate the dangers. The infrastructure is in shambles, making travel outside of major cities a logistical nightmare. Roads are often impassable and basic services are lacking. Look, I understand the allure of venturing off the beaten path, but Afghanistan is not the place to do it. The rugged terrain and lack of security make it a perilous endeavor. This is a country that desperately needs peace and stability, and until that happens, tourism is simply not an option. The people of Afghanistan deserve a future free from fear and violence, where they can rebuild their lives and their nation. Chapter 5, Syria, a heartbreaking no-go zone. Our final destination takes us to a country that's been torn apart by a brutal civil war, Syria. This nation, once known for its rich history and cultural heritage, now stands as a stark reminder of the devastating impacts of prolonged conflict. This once beautiful nation, home to ancient cities and vibrant cultures, has become synonymous with conflict, destruction, and unimaginable suffering. The echoes of its glorious past are now overshadowed by the grim reality of war. For over a decade, Syria has been embroiled in a complex and multifaceted war, with various factions vying for control. The struggle for power has led to a fractured society where trust is scarce and fear is abundant. The result has been a humanitarian catastrophe of epic proportions, with millions displaced from their homes and countless lives lost. Families have been torn apart, and the dreams of many have been shattered. While the fighting has subsided in some parts of the country, Syria remains a highly volatile and dangerous place. The scars of war are visible everywhere, from the crumbling buildings to the haunted eyes of its people. The threat of airstrikes, shelling, and kidnappings is ever present, especially in areas controlled by extremist groups. The constant danger makes daily life a struggle for survival. Look, I believe in the power of travel to foster understanding and empathy, but Syria is not the place to do it right now. The risks far outweigh any potential benefits. The priority must be on providing aid and support to those affected by the conflict. Humanitarian efforts are crucial in helping the Syrian people rebuild their lives and restore some semblance of normalcy. So there you have it, guys. 5 countries that should be at the very bottom of your travel bucket list. Look, I know it's tempting to chase adventure and see the world, but your safety should always come first. There are so many other incredible destinations out there where you can experience the thrill of travel without putting yourself at unnecessary risk. Stay informed about travel advisories, be aware of the risks involved, and make smart choices that prioritize your safety and well-being. Thanks for watching, and if you've had any scary travel experiences, please share them with us in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more travel safety tips and insights to help you make informed travel choices.